I remember years ago when I was a child, I asked my father, when I read for the first time that the Wall Street crash in the 20s, that caused people ruin, bankruptcy, and that many, many committed suicide. You have the images, the stories of people jumping out of windows. As a child, it seemed to me very bizarre, very painful, actually. Why would someone take their life because they lost their fortune? I mean, isn't life more important than any money? Life also means the people you love, your relationships, your family. Someone putting money more above that to the point that they lose their fortune. And my father said to me, you're not going to understand until you get older. And he didn't mean that necessarily as a compliment to the older people. It meant that, you have to lose some of your, I guess, your healthy naivete to come to realize, yes, that some people put money before life, that money can cause rifts in families, money can cause parents and children to not speak to each other, and that's just money. That tells you that people's values and what they consider important and priorities are off kilter, frankly. Very disturbing, very disturbing. So when I hear, and I hear this time and again, of families not talking to each other because one member of the family is going to vote for Trump and another is going to vote for Kamala, it says to me, what's going on here? Isn't blood thicker than politics? So I understand there are things at stake and people become passionate about their different values and so on. But let's be very frank. The most important question we should be asking ourselves is not who wins this election, but who wins in my home. If you have a family, let's start with a family person. You, a spouse, children, and I'll talk about other scenarios as well, but the same idea. What are the most important things that you need to bring into your home that your family and children are aware of? What should be the priorities? If you're single, same question. What is the single most important thing? If it's entertainment and it's sports and even our political leaders, there's something wrong. You should be teaching your children values, the things that are most important in life, whether it's love, commitment, trust. Why are we here in this world? To serve. That should be the single most passionate thing in life. If a person has that in place, will election day scare them? Absolutely not. I understand the rhetoric where one candidate paints the other as being a complete fascist or a Hitler or the other way around, whatever the names are being called. But these are names that human being, political people are using. We're not dealing with something of that nature here. We're dealing with, the end of the day, they're now going to be the 47th president of the United States. There are 47 presidents, some were better, some were worse. I don't see any of them that really changed the world in a dramatic way. They may have been at the right time, in the right place, whether it was World War II or World War I. I understand the founding of this country, Washington, George Washington, or Abraham Lincoln during the time of the emancipation of the slaves, or other historic moments. And I'm not saying presidents have tremendous power, but there's something about this country that is either stable or not stable. I've not seen a human being take over control of this country to the point of extremes. Everyone's gone through their ups and downs, economic downturns, military situations, and so on. So there's no question there is consequences to who will lead this country. But so much, I don't know what the percentage is. Is it 90%, 95%? It's just words. It's just rhetoric. At the end of the day, it comes down to what do we and you and I stand for. That's why I'm not scared about this election. I may have my preference who should win the election, but I'm not scared of it because I've seen presidents I didn't like at all. They may have done some damage here and there, but at the end of the day, things balanced out. And there were presidents who were great presidents and also balanced out. You need to look at this as an opportunity of what we stand for, what you and I stand for. Now, I would like anyone to show me. I understand COVID struck us in the year 2020, right? And of course, it had a lot of consequences. I don't think there would have been a president that wouldn't have made mistakes. I don't think a president that wouldn't have done some good things. It's easy to just point fingers and create scapegoats. There's the immigration problem. Again, there's no president that has solved the problem. There's no president that has caused the problem. Has problems arisen under the president's administration? Yes. Has President Trump in his time completely solved it? No. Again, this is not meant to in any way dismiss any individual's contributions, but I think with a little moderation is necessary here. Above all, again, I ask myself simply, what will be best for my children, for my grandchildren, for my family, for myself? That's the most important question. Real practical differences. Yes, the economy, prices are high up, and that's a good reason many people will change leaders because prices matter to them. Will Mr. Trump be the president that will solve all those problems? He may solve some of them. He may not solve all of them. Either way, it's going to be something in between. So the word where people say, I remember in 2016, people said, Mr. Trump wins, Donald Trump wins, I'm moving out of this country. They said, you should be the first one worried, people told me as a Jew, because the next thing they're going to put you into camps, concentration camps. I mean, the person was off the wall. I just know that was not where we're going. So this extremism and this heightened volume, to me, is completely off base. And I don't know if any of you agree with me. It may be that you'll see me now as somewhat demonize me because I sound too, I don't know, one or the other. Now, I'm not even taking a position here. You haven't heard me in any way suggest which nominee to vote for, which party to vote for. I definitely have opinions on the matter, but it's not the discussion here. The discussion is, does it scare you? Does it frighten you? And if it does, that means that you need to be looking at your priorities. It always brings me back to one of my favorite stories, a very sad story, but also a very powerful story, where in much harsher times, he was called Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Schneerson, the sixth Chabad Rebbe. And he was arrested for counter-revolutionary activity in the former Soviet Union under Stalin. Now you have to remember Stalin, whether it was 30 million or 40 million people died under him. It wasn't documented quite like the Nazis did it. But he killed many, many, many. And he was far from a saint, let's put it that way. He was comparable to his you can call it the alter ego in Germany. And they arrested him for counter-revolutionary activity, Rabbi Schneerson. What that meant? That he was a Jew, that he was actively promoting Judaism, teaching it, trying to get the Jewish people a little more inspiration. That was the crime. You understand? He's arrested, and they sentenced him to death. Through miraculous interventions and all different things, he ultimately was freed completely. While he was in prison, he was tortured, he was tormented by, unfortunately, the worst were the Jewish Yevsektia. These are the Jewish communists who had a particular hatred. Jewish anti-Semites can be worse than any other. And they had particular hatred, even though their grandfathers were Hasidim, were disciples of this man's grandfather. Okay. And to the point that the Rebbe, for his own pride and dignity, chose not to cooperate. He insisted that they give him his prayer shawl and tefillin to pray. He insisted on speaking Yiddish, even though he spoke fluent Russian. Until the point that one of the Jewish captors, pointed a gun to his head and said to him, Rebbe, in Yiddish, mind you, this pistol has changed many a mind. Time for you to cooperate. The Rebbe responded without flinching. He said to him, this toy, in Yiddish toy is a tzatzke. This tzatzke, this toy, can frighten someone that has one God, one world, and many gods. Every day another God based on your pleasures and your desires and your seductive interests. But it cannot frighten someone that has one God and many worlds. In investments, they like to call it diversification. If you put all your eggs in one basket, your nest egg all in one basket, then you lose it. It's lost. That's quite terrifying. But if you have many baskets and you diversify, so even if one is taken from you or one is compromised, you have others. So if you have one God and many worlds, You have the world of your family. You have your world of your faith. You have the world of your social circle. You have the world of your ideology, and so on and so forth, and your mission, and many, many other worlds. And that one God, the unwavering God that you hold on to, you cannot frighten a person like that. That doesn't mean that this Rebbe or anyone wants their lives to be taken. Of course, life is the most valuable thing, but you're not going to frighten me. Many people are afraid of death because they think it's the end. Now, nobody wants death. It's a terrible thing, but it's not the end because there's life after life, and so on. The point being is, we should not be frightened by the realities of this material world. Now, your candidate may not win. What are you going to do then? You can agonize, be bitter, point fingers, watch the media that will grieve together with you. I remember what happened in 2016. Or you can say, you know what? Maybe it's time for me to focus on what's most important in life and the places I do have control. Listen, the Yankees lost to the Red Sox. I'm sorry, to the Dodgers. It wasn't the Red Sox this time, to the Dodgers. Now you could spend the rest of your year, till next year, crying about it. But we all know that's not life and death. We move on. Now, with an election, you can say the consequences are more than just a baseball game. I understand that. And people have positions and their political, there's issues around, whether it's around the economy, whether it's around international matters, abortion, and so on and so forth. I'm not saying immigration. There are issues. And that's where you have to make a decision. You have to make an intelligent decision who you think is the right candidate. But you have to look at yourself first. What are the things you have control over? What are your values? And frankly, that's what we should really be praying for and hoping for. That the president who's elected will be blessed by God, like we hear all the blessings given, with the clarity, with the courage, with the wisdom, with the humility to lead properly. Because the ultimate leader is not just a political and economic leader, not just a firefighter, an administrator, and a fundraiser. Ultimately, someone that can infuse the citizens of this country with confidence, with courage, with values, with ability to pursue their ideals, the ideals that we cherish, whether it's love, happiness, success, giving our children opportunities, the things that are singly most important. So I would advise everyone, as a pre-election exercise, sit down and write down a list of your 5 most important priorities in life. What are they? I doubt that the first one will be who will be the next president. What are your priorities for you and your loved ones, for you and those that you have responsibility over, for you and your sphere of influence? Now, it could very well be one of the candidates is the right one that will help you in pursuing your values, the things that are your priorities. But what are your priorities? So in all times, especially when there's turbulence, when there's unknowns and uncertainties, when there is an election coming with a lot of unpredictability and many sides, and there's half this country will not be happy, I am sure, on Wednesday morning. And I don't know when this will be, especially if it's close and it goes to the courts, who knows what will happen then. But beyond the spectacle, the gladiator wrestling, voyeuristic spectacle that the media so loves, the blood, basically the blood sport, what are the single most important values in our lives? This is the opportunity that we have right now. And that may help clarify who you should vote for. Because if you feel one candidate can help you pursue and embrace your values, the things that are most important to you, that's great. But I have to suggest and I submit that most of us are being distracted because what the media considers a priority, or these polls that consider priority, are not necessarily true priorities. A lot of it is Madison Avenue, a lot of advertising, marketing, pandering, and so on and so forth. So it's hard to cut through all the smoke screens, but that's our job. So I felt I wanted to just talk about this because as soon as I hear people telling me they're scared of election day, they're scared of the polarization, they're scared of the one who loses not accepting the loss. The people are afraid of that. And other things of that nature, I go back, afraid? No. One person with many, many worlds and one God should not be afraid of anything. Yes, absolutely, be passionate about your candidate, be passionate about what you believe in, but make sure to put it into context and perspective. That's what's necessary more than ever. Now, I don't know how many of you agree with me. Frankly, please feel free to share. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your comments, and your critique. But I also would like to hear if there's anything I've said that has any merit in your mind. Because I do believe we need to have a voice of reason that goes beyond, that is above the fray, and goes beyond the rhetoric, the political rhetoric that you hear by the pundits back and forth. I'm sure will accelerate only in the next few days. Main thing is this. We all are citizens, 8 billion people in this world, each of us with a unique mission to do something with our lives, to bring light, to bring meaning, to bring values, to bring love into this world. And that's the most important thing of all. Our leaders should be serving us in that regard. We're not here to serve them. They're here to serve us. And hopefully we can finally elect a president, if not in this election, in another, that will reflect these ideas and these values. That's what we should be looking for. Beyond all the sound bites and what people are saying in order to get higher polls or getting better response, basically pandering again to the people. That's a lot of BS there, a lot of nonsense, a lot of superficiality. And we can cut through and find the truths in our lives. I've committed my life, as Meaningful Life Center suggests the name, to finding meaning in our lives. Not dictating it, helping each other, finding why are we here, what can we contribute to this world, what can you contribute that no one but you can contribute. That indispensable musical note, the words in the Oliver Wendell Holmes' powerful poem, or even tragic poem, The Voiceless, alas to those that die with their song still inside them. That's the thing you should be most frightened of. Will you die with your song still inside you? There's a song in you. You need to learn to sing your song. You need to learn to discover your song and have the courage to sing it. That's what we are focused on, should be focused on. And our leaders, whatever level leader, from the president down, should be, in our eyes, basically instruments that can help us achieve the mission for which we were sent to this world. I thank you for your attention and for listening. And again, love to hear your feedback on this. Just trying to get beyond and not be caught up in the whole hoopla, and allow ourselves to think a little clearly. It's always a healthy thing to do. Be blessed and be well. And may, yes, God bless America. May God bless the next president of the United States to live up to the great responsibility of that office and lead this country in leading the world toward personal and global redemption. Thank you. This has been Simon Jacobson, meaningfullife.com. Please share, please subscribe to this and our other offerings and our YouTube channel, as well as loving to hear your feedback, thoughts, comments, suggestions, critique. Thank you so much, and look forward to see you soon.